Welcome back. I'm Chris Sikora, and I'm going to go ahead and step you through SolidWorks 2020 with configurations. And we'll be using an Excel spreadsheet on this. So if you don't have Excel loaded on your system, maybe get the 30-day evaluation version from Microsoft's webpage. Otherwise, those of you who are taking my class, let me know and we can figure something out. Okay, the idea of configurations is, let's just say up here on the screen is a drawing that has three very simple blocks. Actually, there's a total of four, but yeah, there's four here. You have a small block, it's 3 by 5, and it's 2 inches thick. You have a hole in it, and then you have a medium block with the hole in it, and it's 4 by 7. But then there's a medium block, no hole, that's the same size, but it just doesn't have that hole. All right, and finally there's the large, which is 10 by 12 by 6 with the hole. You can see there's the Excel spreadsheet up at the top here. We want to replicate that because quite often when you're making a design or part or an assembly, you actually do have multiple versions of it, which they call configurations inside SolidWorks. Now you could make them individual parts, but SolidWorks has this unique way of actually making one part with all the configurations inside of it. So it's really kind of neat. Although it can cause some problems with some PLM and PDM systems, it used to, at least back in the day. Most of the PDM and PLM systems out there for data management don't seem to have any issues with this. It actually works quite well as far as I understand. But so let's take a look at how this works. First of all, the reason these are just blocks is because I wanted to keep it simple. Something simple so you don't have to focus on the modeling aspects of it, just on what Excel spreadsheets, how they interact inside the software. And even you could do this without Excel, by the way. All right, so make sure you have SolidWorks running. Let's first build that block. Okay, so I'm going to select New Part and hit OK. And you could do this with any part inside SolidWorks as long as this, even if it's not native, as long as you build some features into it, you could actually do this. Let's take the front plane and start a sketch and take the corner rectangle tool in the upper, right at the origin, click and drag to the upper right corner here, click. And we're going to go ahead and make that 3 by 5. So go to Smart Dimension this 3 by 5. And the trick here with configurations is what happens is basically it's suppressing features. So if you were to put in a hole right now, like drawing it in and extruding it, that's one feature for the actual box, and it generated the void, which is the hole, simultaneously. You wouldn't be able to get this to work properly if you do it that way. So just remember, combining features like that, especially if it's a through hole or something, might be tricky. You want to keep the features separated so that you can do what we're about to do. So just go to extrude, and we're going to make that 2 inches thick. Hit the green check or enter. And I'll select that face, go to sketch. Oh, you know what? Actually hit rebuild to exit that sketch. Let's use the hole wizard tool here. We haven't used that since exercise 4 in the beginners class. So go to the hole wizard. You'll notice if you hit the little arrow underneath, you'll have hole wizard, advanced hole, and thread. We're just going to go with the hole wizard, which is a very nice tool. Over to the left, you can actually see that you could go with counterbores, countersinks, pipe taps, things like that. Let's go with counterbore, and over here, make sure it's set to ANSI inch, binding head screw, and set it to 1/4 inch, and the fit will be normal, and the end condition could be set to through all, and we're going to go with the basics that are generated automatically. Now go to the Positions tab, and just simply click on the surface of this and move to this lower left corner and click. Now go to Smart Dimension and dimension that point to this edge, make it 1 inch, and then the point to the bottom edge 1 inch. So that's how we locate it. And that's just review. Hit the green check mark, and now we have our hole. And you see it's C-bore for counterbore, 1/4 inch binding head screw. All right, now we're going to go ahead and make a configuration without an Excel spreadsheet first. So to do this, hit the little tab up here, the Configurations Manager, and you'll see there's only one default configuration. Go ahead and right-click on where it says Part 1 and click on Add Configuration. And we'll call this, we'll actually make it a super small. And sometimes I like to put in a little underscore there. Okay, so super small, and you could put a description in if you wanted. We could say use that in the bill of materials so that it just doesn't come up box or whatever we save it as. It actually uses the configuration name as in the bill of materials, which we're not going to worry about that right now, but that's pretty good. Go ahead and hit the green check. Now, you'll see we have the default configuration, but the super small has the green check. It means it's active. So let's double click on this front surface and let's change this to 3 and then hit this little rebuild button. Now down here, we could say for this specific configuration or all configurations, I forgot to set it to just this configuration, but let's see if it works. I will set it to 3 and hit the green check. And now let's just double check to see if it worked. Double click on default and hit rebuild. Now that was because I forgot to hit that option. So let's, now that we're in default, double click on the surface again, double click on the 3, let's change it back to 5, and notice it's set to this configuration only, hit rebuild, hit the green check. Now let's just verify that that works. So default, and then super small, and you can see, I should have turned that rebuild option off, but so we can see the two variants, the default and super small. So the default is really small, but we'll leave it in as a default. Sometimes I like to leave that in when I've done this. All right, now you've seen how you could do this with pretty much any with any part. You can change configurations. You can make a whole list manually. Those of you who don't have Excel, that's what I'd like you to do. Just go ahead and create multiple configurations by right-clicking on there, add configuration, small, medium, large, and do what we're about to do. But those of you who have Excel loaded on your system, you should be able to do what we're about to do. All right, so I'm going to go back to default, and now we're going to go to Insert, Tables, and find Design Table. Notice it has the little Excel icon there. Now you have blank, auto create, and from file. Now the purposes for these is the blank. That's what we're going to choose. Select blank. It's just going to give us a blank sheet. We're going to have to add some information in. Auto create's kind of neat. I suggest maybe giving it a try. It will actually take all the parameters and give you options to select them. It's very nice, but I want to show you how to start from scratch. And then from file, that would be, let's say you make an Excel spreadsheet from this. You could actually save that Excel spreadsheet separately and then make changes to it and re-import it, and then it will update. So it's really pretty neat what it's capable of doing. There's some options here you could see. You can block model edits or allow model edits. Let's just go with blank, hit the green check. It should start up Excel. And now notice it shows you the current configurations. There's default and there's the super small. And I'm going to just go ahead and hit OK. And here's some parameters that are defaulting on there. That's fine. Okay. Now, I noticed this, and I have a feeling this is because I have an older version of Excel. If you have a new version of Excel, hopefully you're not getting this, but normally it's supposed to bring up the design table. And it doesn't come up initially, and I'm not sure why, but here's, click somewhere here, and it will say no valid design table instances were found. Just hit OK. Now let's go back to Edit and Design Table and Edit Table. And there it is. Not entirely sure why that does that. I've seen that happen in this last release. It could be a glitch. It could be operator. Maybe I need to read up and see if they changed something. If someone knows online, go ahead and put in the answer down below in the comments. I appreciate that. Okay, so you can see we have the first instance. And now below first instance, we're going to go ahead and put some names in. So go ahead and type in small. medium, medium, underscore, no, underscore, whole. Okay. You could double click on this little bar here to expand that. And then large. Now click in cell B2 and we could grab our first parameter. Now to do this, go ahead and so what we want to do is actually see all those dimensions. So go up here and click on this little tab. And then under annotations here, right click on the folder. Now just hit OK here because it exits us out of that. We could go back and edit in a second. But let's first of all turn on Show Feature Dimensions. And that brings up the dimensions as such. Now the dimensions have their own names. And so to bring those up and see those, go to View, Hide Show, and find Show Dimension Names. Right here, the D1. And then click on it. Now, what we're going to do before we go back in the spreadsheet is rename some of these. So for example, this is the width. You could, don't click on the actual number, click on the arrow. And now over here on the left, you'll see it has a generic name, D2 at sketch 1. You're just going to change the first digits, not before the ampersand. So where it says D2, or what yours might say D1, it's all in order of how you select it. So here D2, let's go ahead, that's the width. So type in W-I-T-D-T-H and hit the green check. And now see it has a name. Do you have to do this? Sometimes I've had students ask that. No. If you could understand and interpret what D1, D2, D3 mean, that's great. But that doesn't always make a whole lot of sense if someone wants to edit this. They don't like, they're going to have to do some figuring out. Okay, so this one now, the 3.0. Let's change that D1 to height. Hit the green check. We're not going to, thickness, yeah, we could do that. Let's click on this one and let's type in right here, thick. And the whole we don't need to do much about. So now at this point, let's go back to View. I'm sorry, go back to Edit and find Design Table and Edit Table. Just hit OK there. All right, so we're in cell B2. So let's put in the width. Go ahead and click on the width here. And sometimes you have to double click, all right, to get it to enter in there. I've had students type in the names and they look exactly as they typed them, and I've typed them before, and sometimes they don't work. So be aware these links are important to try and double click versus typing in the name. Okay, for the height, double click on that. For thick, double click on that. Now for the whole, the counterboard, double click right here on the counterboard. And so it puts these names in for us. Now you see the first instance is really our medium instance. So we could go ahead, in theory, we could just copy those. So we could right click here, or select those, right click. We'll do a, let's see, copy. And then we'll put those actually, let's go ahead and put those in these two cells here. Select those, the medium and medium the whole. Or actually, that's a small, I'm sorry. Click here. Control V is in Victor to paste them. All right, now double click in cell the medium right here. And if we take a look at our guide here, small box, we had 3 by 5 by 2. The medium box will be 4 by 7 by 3. So right here, oh, it'll be 4 for the height. So double click in here, 4. This will be 7 by 3. So just be aware it's not in that same order in my book. Sorry about that. Okay, and let's copy these over. So 7, 4, 3. Now the medium the hole stays unsuppressed. So U, just type in U. Now click on the next one, the medium no hole. That's suppressed, so just type in S. It could be lowercase, it could be upper, it doesn't matter. All right, now note on medium no hole. Let me share some of my experience. I've been teaching this for 20 years. Um, I've had students, instead of putting the underscore in, they put a minus or they put a divided by symbol or some sort of mathematical symbol. You can't put in the names mathematical symbols. It'll error out on you, okay? So just be aware, no mathematical symbols in the name. But you could actually use equations inside these areas just like you would with Excel. So just be aware there's full functionality there. All right, now let's go to the large. And the large, I believe, is 10 by 12 by 6. So actually, double click in here, 10 by 12 by 6, and unsuppressed. All right, we are done. Now we could go in and add a little bit of enhancement here per cell. So if you want to tinker with it, just like other areas like here, we could put in like input, and maybe this top one here will be good. So you could do all these neat things. You could also put in thick boundaries or borders. All right, now just click off of it. And if you did it correctly, it should show first instance small, medium, medium no hold, and large. This is just telling you what it's added. The small or the super small is still in there, so not to worry. Hit OK. All right, now let's go ahead and test this out. Go to the configurations manager and let's try the large. Double click. There it is. Okay, let's try the super small. Just make sure that one works. There it is. And the small. Now notice the super small and the default have a block instead of a little X. It's just to let you know that it was done outside of the Excel spreadsheet. Okay, let's try the no hole. Let's just see with the no hole. Let's take a look here. If we go to the feature tree, what it does is it just suppresses that feature. So imagine that's all you're doing is you're suppressing features, you're able to change dimensions, you can change colors, you can do all types of other things too. This is, again, we're just kind of looking at the foundations here. All right, now I'm going to go back to the small and save this, and go ahead and save this as let's see, what exercise is this? This is E16. Hit save. Now we want to make a drawing, and I want to show you how to bring that up inside of a drawing. So go File, New, or you could actually, while that's up, what's even easier, I like to go right to Make Drawing from Part. We're going to go with the D size so we have enough room. Hit OK. And bring in the front. All right, so we drop that in, give yourself a top view and hit Escape. Let's right click on the sheet here, go to Edit Sheet Format. Oh, I'm sorry, not Edit Sheet Format. Just click up here in the upper right. We want to go to the Properties. Right click on Sheet 1, go to Properties, and let's make sure we change this to, see, I think 1:1 is going to be okay. And hit Apply Changes. Yeah, that should fit. All right, bring this down. Let's go to Annotations, go to Model Items, select this view here. We won't put in the parameters for the whole. Just to keep it simple, drag these dimensions in a bit. And we could click on this and turn on hidden lines. So now we can see the whole. All right, now we want to make copies of this. So Control select both views, then release Control, and then release your mouse button. Then Control C for copy. Click to the right of it. Control V will paste it. click over here, Control V, and drag this over here. Now we can move this one up, drag it over here. We might have to scale it down a little bit more, but that's okay. So now when you click on these, you'll see the configurations under reference configuration. And let's go with medium. And we'll update there. And let's move this up a little closer. And then click on this one down here and make sure that's set to large. We'll bring these down. Now to align these, here's how to align all those. So click here, and that right click, and you'll find alignment, align horizontal by origin, and select this one right here. Right click on this now, and find alignment, align horizontal by origin, and select this one here. So now they're all aligned. Let's say we want to bring in another one now, the no hole. So click on this, and click on this, Control C, click up here, Control V, and we'll align now. We'll click on this and then set this to medium no hole. Now it does leave that center behind there, which you could right click and hide it. And so now you have a no hole. Let's go ahead and label these. Click on Note, and we'll actually put it just below it. This is small. Oops. And click over here, medium. Click over here, medium, and it already put in the medium, so we just have to put in no hole. Large. Hit escape. All right, now we want to get in here. Let's see, we're running out of space. We should still be able to fit. Oh, here, let's align this one. Click, right click, alignment, vertical by origin, select this one right there. Okay, now to bring in the spreadsheet, go to tables, and actually have to select one of the views. It could be any of them. Go to tables, and we're looking for design table, and there it is. Straight, drop that right there. Now to squeeze it down, here's what you could do. You could double click on it, just hit OK there, and see this little corner. Drag this up until you basically overlap like that any of the excess cells that are not being used. There we go. Then click off of it. Now Control and Tab will toggle you back. Now you sometimes have to, oh, darn it, I didn't want to double click. Actually, I found sometimes I have to just rebuild, or I've actually deleted it and just reinserted it. Okay, hold Control, hit Tab. Let's try rebuild. Okay, and there it is. So our spreadsheet's in there for the design table. And if you want, let's say we want to bring in the super small one just for fun. We could go and select any one of these. Like I'll select this one, Control C, click right there, Control V, and click on it and just select super small. So they all work the same. There's a way to make a parametric note. I don't want to go through that just right now. Okay, and that completes that exercise. Those of you in my class, for your portfolio, you could alt print screen, but go to, otherwise just do a save as, and you're going to save as a PDF. And then from there, just make sure you send it to me. And that concludes this exercise.